Here's how to spend 3 nights and 2 days in one of Canada's oldest cities during the winter. This is Quebec City. If I miss anything or you have additional info, please leave a comment. We took Via Rail from Toronto. Our train left Union right on time. We happened to get a pretty old train on this first leg. The food is not great in economy, but it's decent enough if you need to eat something. On the trip to Quebec City, we changed trains in Ottawa. The whole journey was about 12 hours and it ran on time the whole way, and arrived in Quebec City around 8:30 p.m. One of the highlights of taking the train to Old Quebec is arriving at Gare du Palais. This historic train station is 110 years old and maintains much of the original beauty and elegance of early 20th century train travel. It was built during World War I, and today it's a designated heritage building. It was built in the Chateau style to match the iconic Chateau Frontenac. I love that they kept so much of the original look, including the ticket windows. This is a great introduction to this historic city. Even if you don't take the train to Quebec, I'd recommend checking out the station. From Gare du Palais, we walked to our hotel, Auberge Place d'Armes. It's located on Rue Sainte-Anne, and it's as centrally located as you could possibly get without staying at Chateau Frontenac. The hotel was built in the early 1600s by a French settler, and it was recently renovated in 2003 by his descendant, Marc-Antoine Doré. This historic inn features 2 distinct styles, the French side with stone and beam, and the English side showcasing brick and woodwork. Our room sits at the very top of the property and features an amazing vaulted ceiling. The room is actually very large and has a small kitchen. It also features heated floors in the bathroom, which during the winter is a really nice feature. There's a separate shower, but it's pretty small. The room was comfortable, but the major perk of staying here is the perfect location. After dropping our bags, we headed out in the snow to explore Upper Town. Even in winter, Quebec City is just incredible to explore. Downstairs is an excellent restaurant for breakfast that I've eaten at twice now. La Buchette offers a really delicious breakfast and great atmosphere. In the summer, the patio is one of the best around. From our hotel, the Citadelle is about a 10-minute walk through Upper Town. The Citadelle actually still operates as an active military garrison, so to explore the fort, you need to book a guided tour. The Citadel was built 200 years ago by the British in anticipation of an American attack, which ultimately never happened. It was strategically built on the highest point of Quebec City and is considered the Gibraltar of the Americas. Some structures of the fort date as far back as the 1600s and 1700s. The tour is interesting and gives really fascinating insight into the design, defenses, and life in the garrison over the centuries. There's also a self-guided museum tour that you can check out before or after your tour. A short walk away from the Citadel is the Capitol Observatory on the 31st floor of the Marie Guillart building. The observatory offers 360-degree views of Quebec City, the St. Lawrence River, Ile d'Orléans, Orleans Island, and the Laurentian Mountains. The views of Old Quebec are amazing and offer a great perspective on how tightly packed Upper Town is compared to the newer and surrounding suburbs. The Québec-Lévis Ferry was something I missed the last time I was here, and I wasn't gonna miss it again. And taking the ferry during the winter is an awesome way to experience it. You can actually hear and feel the ice hitting and breaking on the bow of the ship. The tour boats that go downriver to Montmorency and back aren't running during the winter, so if you want to see the city from the water, the ferry is, well, I think the only option. You can pay for a round-trip ticket and just ride the ferry to Lévis and back. You will, however, need to disembark in Lévis and then reboard on the same boat if you want to go right back. Before ferries operated here, people would cross by rowboats or canoes. The first high-capacity ferries began operating here in 1818, but they couldn't provide service during the winter as the St. Lawrence River would fully freeze over. During the winter, carefully marked off and maintained ice bridges would allow people to walk across on foot or by horse and buggy. This winter practice was maintained until 1910, when ice-breaking ferries were introduced. Ever since, ferries have crossed between Lévis and Quebec all year round. You can disembark in Lévis and then just get right back on, or you can take some time to explore Lévis and grab a later ferry to get back. We didn't venture too far as we were carrying our luggage because we were kind of in between hotels at the moment. So we just grabbed a coffee and a bite to eat at a coffee shop right across from the ferry terminal. The ferries leave the dock every half hour on the half hour and the hour. The trip back to Quebec City is very cool. Although I think the view of Old Quebec from the tour boats is slightly better as it approaches from the east. After disembarking back on the Quebec City side, we made our way into the Old Port neighborhood and up the funicular to Dufferin Terrace. This is where you'll find one of the oldest attractions in Quebec. The Toboggan Slide has been here since the 1880s, predating even Chateau Frontenac. Apparently, the slide can reach up to 70 kilometers an hour.
So, the toboggan will stop by itself at the end. When it's not moving anymore, you'll be able to stand up.
Okay.
Are we ready?
Ready.
All right. Bye.
I wouldn't have believed that until I tried it for myself. I was honestly thinking I would just kind of check this one off the list, and I wasn't expecting a whole lot. But I was way off. This thing is fast, which then made me think this must have been the fastest thing in the world back in the 1880s. I looked it up. Steam trains could reach these speeds. After my adrenaline subsided, we took an Uber to our next hotel and experience for the night. This is Hotel de Glace, North America's only ice hotel. It's about 30 to 40 minutes outside of Quebec City, depending on weather and traffic. With a reservation of the ice hotel, you do get an actual hotel room for the night, where you can, do all the stuff you would normally do in a hotel room, minus the sleeping part. The ice hotel is located on the property of a very large resort, which operates all year. During the winter, they of course have the Ice Hotel, which you can book a night in, or you can actually just come and tour the hotel. They also have restaurants and an indoor water park. We explored the hotel for a little bit and then headed over to, I think, the only restaurant that was open. The food was just okay, nothing special. It did its job and filled us up for the night, which is important when spending the night in freezing temperatures. The Ice Hotel is absolutely incredible. It's amazing that this kind of thing is even possible. And by possible, I mean it's actually legally possible to sell rooms and have guests sleep under, thousands of pounds of ice and snow. If you let your mind wander, it can start to feel a little unsettling. A kind of funny quirk that I didn't really consider until we got there was that this ice hotel still needs to meet the legal requirements of a hotel. So there's fire extinguishers and emergency exit maps at each room, but the work and skill it must take to create this place is astonishing. The hotel is built using forms, and then snowmaking machines lay down wet snow over the forms. The wet snow compacts and hardens into solid ice. Then the forms are removed. They also use these amazing ice blocks, which are made off-site and then transported here. But it's not just the structure that's ice. The chairs, the beds, the bar, even the glasses are ice. With your room reservation, you get a free cocktail. There were supposed to be 4 of us originally, so we ended up with 2 free cocktails each. Sometimes I'm skeptical about these things. I was thinking this might be kind of a tourist trap experience, but it's actually incredible. It's for sure the most unique hotel experience that I'll probably ever have. The atmosphere and the level of detail that goes into creating this is staggering. The interior of the Ice Hotel stays somewhere between -1 and -8, I believe it was. The night of our stay, the weather outside was -9 with a wind chill factor of -14. I'm going to make a separate video going into all the details of this hotel experience, including clothing and the sleeping experience. I'll link the video below in the description once it's published. The next morning, we had a buffet breakfast at the hotel. The breakfast was better than the dinner. After eating and packing up, we headed back into Old Quebec. Our third and final hotel on this trip was one I was really looking forward to and specifically reserved for our last night. It's located in the Old Port area, just a short walk to Place Royale and Rue du Petit Champlain. This is Auberge Saint-Antoine, and it's a 2 Michelin key hotel. For those who don't know, Michelin keys are similar to Michelin stars that are awarded to some of the best restaurants in the world. Michelin keys are awarded to exceptional hotels, with 3 keys being the very best in the world. And this hotel has 2. And I will say this hotel is now my favorite property in Quebec City. I've stayed at 4 other hotels in Old Quebec, including Chateau Frontenac, and I would say that this 5th hotel is the best in my personal experience. We arrived at the hotel around 10:45 a.m. and they were actually able to accommodate an early check-in. I was expecting to just leave our luggage with reception. The hotel is located on a very historic property and archaeological site, and they honor that heritage. As described in the Michelin Guide, this hotel is 3/4 boutique and 1/4 museum. The hotel is comprised of 3 buildings, dating from the 18th and 19th centuries. It's even built within the ruins of this 1700s fortification. Outside the rooms are these great little shoe mats, a nice touch, and certainly helps keep the melting ice and road salt out of the room. And each room features its own artifact, incorporated into the room number. The room itself is sort of a perfect hotel room. It features all of the storage you could possibly need. The coffee bar is excellent, with very nice coffee cups, an espresso machine, and plenty of coffee. There's an assortment of teas as well. There's a complimentary bottle of filtered water. There's plenty of thoughtful touches too, like the hidden trash bin. I mean, it's just a little thing, but like, yeah, hide the trash bin, that's nice. The room itself features 2 very plush and comfortable queen-sized beds. The room was spacious, but not overly large. I think the key to this hotel's success is not any one thing, but it's the total experience and all the small, thoughtful touches and details, plus the excellent customer service. After settling into our new accommodations, we headed back out to explore one of the most beautiful buildings in the city. We walked across Old Port, up the stairs to Upper Town, and walked out of the walled portion of the city. Just beyond the walls is where you'll find Quebec's Parliament building. This massive 8-story building is home to the National Assembly of Quebec and was built in the 1870s and 1880s. Entry is free and you can choose between a guided or self-guided tour. We did the self-guided tour, and with that you get a booklet which helps guide you through this massive building. There's lots of exhibits, and the booklet helps explain some of it, but the descriptions on the exhibits themselves are only in French. One of the biggest highlights here is the Library of the National Assembly. Most of what you walk through at the start of the tour is kind of modern and a little sterile, but then you enter the library and you're transported back in time. The library's collection began in 1802, before this current Parliament building was even constructed. The collection has grown over the centuries, even after fire destroyed most of it in 1883. The oldest published book in the collection dates back to 1473. We continued to follow the self-guided tour, which took us through historic and beautiful parts of the building. I highly recommend spending some time here. Right across the street from Parliament is the Plains of Abraham and Battlefields Park. According to historians, the name likely refers to Abraham Martin, who was a friend of Samuel de Champlain. It was here during the 7 Years' War that the French lost to British forces, and Quebec lost control of New France, ultimately paving the way for the development of Canada. It was here that O Canada was first sung in public in 1880. There's a museum here dedicated to the Plains of Abraham, but it was closed temporarily for renovations. I would suggest visiting the Plains of Abraham in the summer. The views are nice though, any time of year. A very small but interesting thing to check out, and maybe just if you have time or you're passing by, is the House of Literature. It's an old church that's been converted into a library and literary center. The architecture is very cool and it's just a fun thing to walk through. You can check their website for events, readings, and workshops. We headed back to our hotel to relax for a bit and explore more of the property. When we arrived back, we found our coffee station fully restocked with new coffee cups and any towels had been replaced, and this nice piece of gingerbread. The TV was on with the hotel's information channel playing and some of the lights were turned on. We were not expecting that, and it was just like one of those nice little touches. After a quick change, we headed down to the lobby to explore the property and have a drink. Located in the oldest building on the property is Coteau, which features your choice of a 5 or 7 course tasting menu. It's a Michelin recommended restaurant, serving dishes made with ingredients from their very own farm and local producers. The restaurant itself is stunning. The building was a maritime warehouse dating back to 1822. Coteau wasn't in the budget for this trip, however, Artifact, which is the lobby bar, it also serves up a casual menu. And I presume the food is made by the same kitchen team behind Coteau, so we get a little kind of sampling of Coteau. But first we enjoyed a cocktail while taking in the incredible historic surroundings, which they do such an amazing job of incorporating into the property. For dinner, we ate light and enjoyed fresh Canadian oysters, a Caesar salad with crispy fried capers, and some delicious sliders. The food was excellent, and they do serve full-size entrees if you're so inclined. Whether you're staying here or not, I would highly recommend a meal at Artifact for the food and the historic surroundings. After dinner, we spent the rest of the evening exploring Old Port. We wandered along the docks across from the hotel, and then made our way into the historic cobblestone streets. Old Quebec is so quaint and peaceful, and that's never more true than during the winter. With significantly fewer people and no crowds, you can explore at your own pace. I made reservations for most of the things we did, but really, I didn't need to do that. Where Montreal and Toronto are bustling metropolises, you can visit Quebec City and escape much of that. Back at the hotel, our room had been turned down with low lighting, some tea, and chocolates. The next morning, we made our way back to Gare du Palais and boarded our train back to Toronto. On the return journey, we changed trains in Montreal. I hope this video was interesting and helpful if you're planning your own winter trip to Quebec City. If you made it to the end, please consider subscribing if you haven't already, and maybe consider a channel membership if you'd like to get more involved with the locations that I cover on this channel. Thanks for watching. See ya.